I made a calculator suite that allows users to access multiple different calculators just within one application. So the first calculator is a mathematical calculator. It works as you would imagine. It takes a user input from the user and completes the operation that they wish, and it can even do operations consecutively like this, and pretty much anything that you'd imagine: multiplication, division, addition, subtraction. You can even input decimals by yourself and get something like this. And there's also a little more complex range of functions, like 6. You can do the 6 to the power of 2, gives you 36. 5 to the power of 5 gives you 3,125. There's also a square root function that allows you to find the square root of numbers. This works for improper roots like 8 as well. You get the exact decimal value. I've also added trigonometric functions like sine, cosine, tangent, and then arc functions of those. So for example, if I do 6 sine, get negative 0.27. I can even confirm like 0 cosine should equals 1, so there you go. And I've also added arc functions, so if I do arc tangent of 0.55, I get 0.504. I've also added a mod button, so I can do 9 mod 8 gives me 1, I can do 78, mod 6 should give me 0, and there you go. And then there's also a sign change button. So if I do something like 0.9996 times 5, I want to change the sign to this, I can just click this and it converts the sign for me. And there's also a round button that I added, so if I click this, it should just round it up to 5. There it is. So, apart from this is a pretty foolproof program, but there's a couple of limitations that are faced here. One thing is, obviously, as you would have already seen, if I do sine of 5 radians, it gives me a huge double number. I haven't learned yet how to round the numbers without completely converting it to an integer type. That's one of them. And another one is if I can't do compound operations like 36 times negative 5, it just gives me the completely wrong output. So if I had more time, I would definitely work on those. And that's about it for the mathematical calculator bit. Let's move on to the next one. So this one calculates your EMI or loan amount that you need to pay every single month to pay it off. So suppose I want to borrow $100,000 and the annual interest rate is 5%, and I need 10 years to pay it off. I need to pay a total of $1,060 per month for a total of 120 months, which is just 10 years. And if the user accidentally inputs one number wrong, like 0, 12, and 5, it says please enter valid numbers. And then even if a user decides to enter like a negative number somewhere, it'll still say please enter valid numbers. So the user must enter all the values above 0 in order for the program to work. Now, there's also a GPA calculator, which I would say is the flagship program of this application. Now, what this allows you to do is essentially just organize your classes. You don't have to write anything here, but just for organization's sakes, you can just write the names of your classes. So if I do Spanish there, math, PE, and let's just say you're doing no APs right now, so let's just do an A for everything. And this should, in theory, just give you a 4.0. And there it is, GPA is 4.0. And assuming we have 3 APs, let's just mix up the grades a little bit just to confirm that this actually works with other values as well. D plus and that, A plus and this. And then let's get calculate, and it says GPA of 3.57, Well, as you would have already seen, there's a couple of limitations I faced. I'm sure there's a way to efficiently code all of these buttons together, but I had to individually write conditional statements for each button and each checkbox, so that took me a long time. And also over here, as you can see, as I already mentioned earlier, I'm not sure how to round a double without completely converting it into an integer, so the GPA gives you decimal points up to like 10 decimal places. So that's another little small inconvenience, but apart from that, it works perfectly. Now let's click exit. And let's use the body mass index calculator. So it takes an input from the user. So let's just do my height and weight. So let's do 1.83 meters, and I'm 72 kgs. If I click submit, it'll tell me my body mass index is 21, which classifies me as normal weight on the official scale. So if I decided to make my weight 50 kgs, for example, it classifies me as underweight. If I made it like 120, I'm very obese. And then if I did like 90,000, I'm morbidly obese. This also has foolproofing, so if I have 0 Over here, it gives an error statement saying please enter valid numbers. It won't process or break the code in any way. And then even if I do 0 here and then like 12 here, 23 here, so please enter valid numbers. It even does the same for negative numbers. So the number must be greater than 0 in order for this calculator to give you your body mass index. So I didn't really face any limitations here. It was a pretty efficient bit of code. And let's move on to the next calculator. Now this is the factorial calculator. What this allows you to do is it takes an input from the user and returns a factorial of that number. So let's just do something simple, like 4 factorial is 24, 12 factorial is 4, whatever that was, and there's also a 5 factorial. You can do any factorial between 0 and 12. That brings me to my limitation. From what I've tested, I didn't really see a way that Java can hold a number larger than 12 factorial because it just simply is too many digits. It would go negative, or it would give you like the completely wrong number or wrong output. So that was one limitation that I faced. And there's some good error statements that prevent the user from breaking the code by putting in a number larger than 12. So if I do 13, for example, it says the number you've entered cannot be processed. Same thing for negative numbers. So negative 55, number you cannot be processed. 999 cannot be processed. And then there's also, since 0 factorial is 1, it's a special number. So if I click that, and there's a special conditional that returns 1 for 0 factorial. So that was my program, and I hope you enjoy using it.